Odd about the spacing today, but we'll figure it out. So today it's Mother's Day, as you all know. It's really a new holiday in the U.S. It only started to be celebrated in the 20th century, the early part of the 20th century. But the concept has been around as long as people have been around. The concept of honoring the mother, the generative force. The Romans celebrated the day after the vernal equinox, which would be March 23rd or something like that, in honor of Cybele, the mother of the gods. And there's lots of evidence way farther back than that, including Asia Minor, 6,000 years before the Common Era. That's 8,000 years ago. There was a whole civilization that worshipped what they called the great mother of the mountain, which I just love. I love that. The great mother of the mountain. Motherhood has been an object of worship and adoration forever because it's so mysterious and powerful and awe-inspiring, no matter what it's like. I mean, every step of it is awe-inspiring. All kinds of mothering, biological and spiritual and emotional, is mysterious and powerful and life-changing, just that nurturing energy. So today I just want to take a moment to acknowledge and celebrate all that energy, the feminine power in all of us, beginning with those women who have had children. So mothers of children of all ages, we celebrate you today. And the process of becoming pregnant, the female body preparing a place for a single cell to begin to divide and differentiate, is absolutely awe-inspiring. So anyone who's ever been pregnant, we celebrate you today. Women who've mothered children not born of their own bodies do vital and precious work, and so we thank you and honor you today. And women who wish to become mothers, we walk with you and pray with you and know that that dream comes true. So this Mother's Day, I want to also acknowledge the women who've lost children through miscarriage or death or estrangement. We honor you and mourn with you and walk with you. So today let's walk with all motherers of people and pets and ideas and creative projects, because mothering is mothering, and it's not for the faint of heart. It is not for the faint of heart. It takes great courage. And so I just want to thank all of you. I want to extend it even further to men, because men mother as well. Within every one of us, there is a feminine aspect, a warrior/mother who nurtures and holds close, but protects and stands up for and defends at the same time. There's within every one of us a well of love and caring and urge to protect all creation. All creation. That's the divine feminine. And everyone has it. It's within each one of us. There's a place of divine receptivity to guidance, to whatever it is that Spirit would have us do, and that is the divine feminine. And our May theme is actually spiritual guidance and personal responsibility. So I want to talk today about the guidance that arises from that place of the divine feminine, that place of receptivity, and that place of, you want me to do what? And that place of saying, okay, and leaning into, as the lyrics of that beautiful song said, leaning into that. The great African-American theologian Howard Thurman wrote this: there is something in every one of you that waits and listens for the sound of the genuine in yourself. It is the only true guide you'll ever have. And if you cannot hear it, you will all of your life spend your days on the ends of strings that somebody else pulls. I love that. He's talking about how important it is to learn to hear the voice of divine guidance, the voice of the one who stands within each one of us, that divine self. And we human beings occupy, I think, a very privileged position in creation because we have the ability to reason. We have the ability to project our memory both forward and backward and forward, imagination. We also have instinctual responses like every other animal on the planet. But unlike any other animal we're aware of, we also have intuition. The ability to know without knowing how we know. The ability to bridge our individual minds or individualized minds with the great mind of the universe. And since what we're really all about here is living a life rooted in spiritual principle, part of that means we have to balance all of those things. We have to balance all of these ways of responding to life. We have to balance our gut reaction, that thing that says, that it's instinctive. It says, move now, or don't go there. We have to balance that with our reasoning and our imagination and our intuition. When I think about intuition, I think it is the source of our greatest freedom and the source of our most clearly delineated responsibility. And what I mean is that intuition is the way we connect with the spirit of all life and sort of take it in, the wisdom of the universe. We let that come into us, the intelligence of creation itself. We let it come into us and bear upon our decisions. And all that comes, in my mind, with a responsibility to be clear that it's really divine guidance and not ego or fear or the ego pretending to be divine guidance. They're very good at that, actually. It is pretty tricky. What is spiritual guidance and what is ego pretending to be spiritual guidance? One of the criticisms I hear of New Thought and our philosophy is that there are no rules on how to behave. And I say, hallelujah! I wouldn't be here otherwise, right? I wouldn't be here. The rules imposed on me by other people has never worked for me. Not since I was born, my poor mother. But especially in regard to my relationship with spirit and that lack of hard and fast rules on how to behave and what to do is probably in large part why many of you are here as well. But I've seen people misuse this idea that there aren't any, how-tos and do this and do that and do the other thing and you'll get into heaven. I've seen them misuse the idea of a connection with the divine to say, well, if it's all God, it doesn't matter what I do. Or, I was guided to do such and such. And then they go off and do the most wacky, unproductive, hurtful, thoughtless thing in the world. And all you have to do is shake your head and hope they survive, I mean, I have seen people say, God spoke to me and said I should do X, Y, and Z, and I just think, whew. And what'd you have for dinner? How much did you drink? I just wonder, because it's so clearly from the outside not divine guidance, because it involves hurting other people. Divine guidance never acts outside of the divine character, if you will. And I think we make these mistakes, and believe me, I've made my own share of them. We make those mistakes because we're not comfortable with or practiced at listening to our intuition. It's really easy to let ego and this need to have quick resolution that we seem to be trained up in the society with take over. And instead of being clear on what is intuition and what is not, we act too quickly sometimes. I think that that intuition often requires gestation. You catch a glimmer and then you sort of live with it until you're clear on what to do with it and from it. And it absolutely requires openness to further guidance. I'll give you an example. When we find something wrong in our bodies, we're trained to take ourselves immediately to the doctor, right? many of us. But lots of us here will stop and seek intuitive guidance first. I will do a spiritual mind treatment, which is what we call affirmative prayer here. It's aligning our minds with the mind of God and asking for guidance and just wait to see what comes up. Sometimes the answer is, get to a doctor, you dummy. You know, God's like that for me. But other times it's lie down, take a day off, rest deeply. Sometimes that's the guidance. And even after I do that first step, if I'm still open to intuitive guidance, if what the doctor tells me doesn't feel deeply correct, I find another opinion about it. Because, you know, they're people. I don't expect any one person to know everything. And as we'll get into in a minute, some of the issues that I take to doctors are peculiar, and they're the kind of thing that nobody knows why they happen. And so this guy might give me a good idea, and this woman over here might give me a better idea. So if it doesn't feel deeply correct, I ask for further guidance. When I do take deep rest, I get guidance by the bucket load. You know, I give myself the opportunity to be quiet enough to hear it. I should be doing that a lot more, but you know, life gets in the way, right? We're all really busy. Last week, I had the opportunity to listen a lot. I wasn't here with you because I was laid low with an entire mouth. I probably had 50 cankers inside my mouth, all over my tongue and my whole bottom lip. And my tongue was 3 times its normal size, and I couldn't be understood. I could make noises, but it wasn't language. Ask Clara. She told me I was talking about some mouse. And I don't remember a conversation about a mouse. I don't even know what the word was. But at any rate, I also had a fever, and I was really hungry because I couldn't eat anything. And so thank you again, Marge, Becky, and Lana for stepping in on short notice. I just went to bed. Wasn't anything else I could do but go to bed. And I did a lot of deep resting and asking, what is this about? What is this really about for me? And I did some research, and as I say, nobody really knows what causes canker. They're not like cold sores, which are caused by a virus. They have a whole list of things that might cause them, but nobody really knows. And there's a whole lot of ideas for treatment, some of which help and others which don't. And the main treatment is just waiting for them to heal up, right? That's the main treatment. So, you know, I found all that out and was doing my saltwater rinses, which are really fun when you have raw skin in your mouth. But they help, or they help me anyway. And I was just asking, what is this all about for me? And I really didn't get the answer until I was fully de-armored and ready to climb into the Divine Mother, which is always there, the part of the divine that is nurturing and comforting and soothing and reassuring and life-giving and fiercely protective. Fiercely protective. The obverse, you know, the Divine Mother is not something that I just run to automatically, because my relationship with my mother was pretty weird. She was always inconsistent, shall we say, bristly, unpredictable, sometimes violent. So it took me a long time to take the armor off as regards the divine aspect of God, the mothering aspect of God. And the same is true for many people with the idea of God as Father, because their relationship with their father might have been abusive, or maybe he was just absent or incompetent. Who wants to think that God is incompetent, right? And so we carry these things from childhood, and we have to sort of be aware of them. I generally avoid humanizing God, which is, you know, I just avoid doing it because I don't, the God of my understanding doesn't have the foibles and limitations of humans. But you know, sometimes you just need a mom. You just do. And I just really needed a mom. I was really tired of, you know, I was hungry and tired and cranky, and I needed my mom. So I just sort of climbed into I just said, Divine Mother, mother me, mother me. And I just became willing to drop all the armor and allow myself to experience in my own mind that kind of tender love and comfort and reassurance. And that too is an act of intuition. It's simply opening up. And I realized something as I was resting there, and that is that every time I'm on the brink of a transformation, a new way of being, whenever I'm in for big changes, my mind says, yay, change, we love change, let's do it. And there's some part of my body acting in behalf of, other parts of me that says, wait a minute, you don't know how this is going to turn out, girl. You best slow down. Don't do this so fast. It might be dangerous. Well, of course it's dangerous. Any big change is, right? But I wasn't respecting that part of me that wanted to maybe go a little slower. What I learned is I need to balance the part of me that loves change, loves newness, with the part of me that says, oh my God, what's happening here? I have to take it a little bit slower, and I have to allow that part of myself to be comforted and be mothered and be told that it's all going to be okay. And if I ignore it, my body will make time for me to remember. Let me put it that way. My body will make time. I have to let transformation seep in rather than try and cram it in with a fire hose, which I often do. Mm-hmm. I have to let every bit of me take part in the transformation, rather than simply thinking that my intellect can handle it all. I have to turn to the Divine Mother for nurture and comfort and guidance and ease for all of me. And so the gift in it, aside from the fact that I lost 4 pounds, was this recognition. You can only eat so much plain oatmeal and white rice before you go, ugh. But I also got this recognition that, I've had it many times before, but I forget it, that whenever we turn to Spirit with an open heart, we get just what we need. We get just what we need. Sometimes that's, mothering, this tender, nurturing care. Sometimes it's sharp and urgent, it's warrior, it's action, it's guidance that says, get up and do this thing. But we always, either way, it's perfect for where we are if we will stop and listen and allow it. When we turn to this one who stands within, trusting that not only can it, but that it wants to communicate with us, we get exactly what we need. What this relationship with the universe, with God, with the divine is really all about is willingness and surrender. And it's not surrendering to, it's surrendering the limitation. When we trust that this one mind of all wisdom knows, and we surrender what we think we know and open to more, then we open to all the possibilities that intuition can guide us to. And the responsibility lies in caring for ourselves enough to do just that. Caring for who we are, caring for the sacred beings that we are. To be willing to turn and surrender and open and say, what greater possibility is there for me here? And we do that while remembering that the divine will always come from its own nature. And its own nature is love, right? Transformation is like that too. It's very loving when we let it. We get it out of the head and into the heart. When we remember that God is always coming from love, Spirit is always coming from love, then we will realize that our intuition will never ask us to do anything out of prejudice or hate or bias or greed or anything that is unlike love. We may find in ourselves when we start to move forward, some part of us that kind of rises up and says, whoa, 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 wait a minute, I'm scared, or you can't do it that way, we've never done it that way before. That's the ego afraid of losing control. That's all it is. But the impulse behind the guidance is always love. And the impulse of the guidance will say, I know we've never done it this way before, that's why we're going to do it this way now. Just trust, just move in that direction a little bit. The point is to take time, to invite, to listen, to invite that guidance, and then combine it with instinct and reason and imagination and memory. And when we do that, what we come up with is so much bigger and greater and more loving. The outcome is vastly more wonderful than anything we can do with one part or even a couple of parts, when we just invite Spirit's guidance. I think deciding anything without inviting that guidance must result in less than what's possible. But when we invite it and incorporate it, we're open to the greatest thing that can come of whatever it is we're walking through. So my invitation to you is to be a scientist, to experiment with it, to, when you're thinking about something, whether it's a health challenge or a relationship challenge or a work challenge or just what should I do today, become still and ask for guidance and open to it and listen for a response and prove to yourself that adding spiritual guidance into your daily mix feels richer and better and more complete and more loving. And prove for yourself that guidance from your inner divine creates more good in your life experience. That's the invitation, is simply to remember what I keep having to be reminded of. That when I open and ask and I'm willing, whatever guidance I need is always there. And it's always just right. It's always just right. So before we pray together, I invite you to affirm with me. I am divinely guided at all times.
I am divinely guided at all times.
I release all resistance.
I release all resistance.
And surrender to the voice of good.
And surrender to the voice of good.
Forever whispering my name.
Forever whispering my name.
And so let us simply go within, in our minds and our hearts, drop into that place that lives right at the middle of your being. A chamber of light. A chamber of life. A chamber of love. Within each one of us dwells Spirit itself. That same power and presence and wisdom and knowledge and love that spoke into being all that exists. That created the galaxies. That created the constellations. That created those great chambers of star creation, the nebula. That created everything that exists and that somehow devised a pattern where life would begin and evolve on this green planet we call home. Where life would continue to become more complex and amazing until finally one day, our distant ancestors stood up and realized they could think, they could reason, they could imagine, they could remember, they could open to awe and wonder. That same power and presence lives within each one of us. It is our very life. And as we remember that, I know for each one of us that we find that door within ourselves on a moment by moment, day by day basis and open it and invite the guidance of that higher self, that greater self, that one that is connected with all that is, we simply say, what, how, when, and we allow the guidance to move into our being and combine with all of those other divine attributes of mind. And we find there the love that we need, the nurture that we need, the power that we need, the courage that we need, the peace that we need, in order to become all that we came here to be, in order to say yes to that which calls us forward into something greater, moment by moment, hour by hour, day by day, saying, Beloved, you are my beloved, and in you I am well pleased. I know this is the truth of each one of us, and I give thanks for it. I give thanks for the time we have had together this morning to acknowledge and celebrate the divine within each one of us, reaching out to and connecting with the divine in all others here. And I know that we take that connection out into the world and connect with everyone we meet today. Every animal, every plant, every flower, every gorgeous puffy cloud in the gorgeous blue sky, knowing it is all an expression of the one. Because I know, again, this is the truth about us. I say thank you. I say thank you for life itself, for all of its manifestations. And I release this into the infinite law that has already said yes to us. It is that part of God that always says yes, has already said yes, has already made it so. And we simply say together to seal and acknowledge it. And so it is.
I am just a thread, a simple thread in this glorious web of life. We are all just drops within a stream, flowing towards an ocean of light. We may forget where we come from. We may forget where we're going to. I might not see that you're a reflection of me as much as I'm a reflection of you. I am just a seed, a blessed seed with eternity unfolding in me. And I pray that as I grow, I will reveal the love that illuminates my soul. When I remember where I come from, when I remember where I'm going to, then I will see that you're a reflection of me as much as I'm a reflection of you. This is my simple prayer. May I become a reflection of the infinite one. This is my simple prayer.